We are live now.
Yes,
Welcome to the weekend conversations presented by Ahmedabad Book Club and the Eternal Quest. Poetry, as they say, is life. Poetry is the mother of all human emotions. Poetry is passion, and poetry is the sum total of memories and memories wrapped into one. Here we have a very young poetess, Miss Heer Nimawat, who believes that not only did the wordless strokes of paint and pencils speak volumes, but they seem to be poetry in themselves. The 17-year-old poetess personifies the inspired reflections of her heart and her mind. So, welcome Miss Heer Nimawat to the Weekend Conversations by Ahmedabad Book Club and the Eternal Quest.
thank you so much. You have very graciously introduced me.
Okay, so moving ahead, can you introduce yourself to the audience?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you so much for having me. It is the greatest honor. Um, I am Hiba Mawat, and I'm a 17-year-old poetess, writer, a professional Kathak dancer, and a passionate public speaker. My very first book, called If Life Wore Polka Dots, is has been published by Partridge India and is now out on racks for everyone to read. It is a collection of 59 poems that I have written over the past 17 years of life. So, yes, that is the occasion on which I have been invited on this platform.
Yes. Heer Nimawat is not only a young poetess, but she's a national level debater, public speaker, budding filmmaker, and alumni of Harvard Leadership Program, Instagram Countership Fellowship. So you have the multi-talented, multifaceted personality of Miss Heer Nimawat. Yeah. So, yeah. So, when did you start writing? And can you tell us about your journey of writing?
Well, that is quite interesting because I do not remember a time I didn't write. And that may sound very ambitious for to say, but then that is actually the truth because I obviously I didn't always write. The journey began somewhere. I come from a long lineage of writers, professors, and poets. So the environment at home itself was very nurturing in that sort. According to my mother, even when I was comfortably tucked away in her womb, she used to read a lot. So I think it can be called inherent. Later on, I read a lot. Thanks to my father, my writing doesn't originate just from books. He exposed me to the world of cinema, thanks to which words became entities beyond paper. So, which is why when I write, a lot of it is inspired from visual philosophy as well as written. So, I think writing as a journey has been very vast in that manner. Uh, Obviously, even though I started writing at a very young age, the quality of writing has changed. Uh, thank God. But I think that is exactly why this book was so important because my writing has changed so much over the years that I felt it was quintessential for me to capture it all in the sort of an album where I can forever store it and remember that, okay, I used to write in this manner and then I grew to become this sort of a writer. And I think that is very important. So I always like to say that I have had the longest romance with my words. So that is what has been up with me and writing.
Okay, so wonderful experience put in words. Writing, as you see, also makes you a better person, and
Absolutely.
I truly believe that the world of a writer is a different world altogether. Yeah.
Very true, very
So,
true.
yeah. So, can you tell us about the cover page of your book and show your book to the viewers and audience?
Oh yes. So this is my book. It's called If Life
Wow.
Wore Polka Dot.
Okay. So
And
it's like set in an yellow background. So it's very good. And you have this
yes,
white. Yeah.
yes. Um, so I think um, to all the people out there who haven't really published their own book or aren't really acquainted with what the entire process is like, it is far more technical than it seems. Um, there is a lot of practicality attached to the entire process. Even though you begin with a very emotional thing, you have to sit down and create a blueprint of how you're going to go about. And I think I had a similar sort of an experience. um, the cover page of the book, I was very firm about it being a reflection of who I truly am, because I could have seemed like, uh, a 25-year-old writer or a 40-year-old writer who has, reached a certain sort of maturity and is now writing a book. But I'm not that. So I was very firm about it being a very honest reflection of who I am. And so this is the pink and yellow polka dots. And because the entire book is about my journey from childhood to the very edge and verge of adulthood. And least to say, the journey has been long and it has been filled with ups and downs. And so it has been blotches of yellow and pink through it all. So I was, uh, it was the entire book, I think, has everything to do with my honest and uh, complete journey. And which is why I always say that if anyone wants to know who I truly am, they would get to know through this book, because I have been very vulnerable in it all. And the pink and the yellow and I have very tediously confirmed and corrected every curl in the handwriting of the heading, every single blotch on the um, in the book and on the book. So I think it has been a labor of love.
Yeah, truly, the cover page is like it's very good, and your journey was very wonderful and exciting to listen also. And what does actually writing mean to you?
That is such a difficult question to answer for a writer, I think. Simply because I always say this, like, there are no words for what words mean to me. Uh, so it, for me, writing, I think, has been a companion, as I said. And a companion's meaning changes from time to time. The way, uh, for example, when, uh, two people fall in love, at different points of time, they mean different things. To my parents, it supports. To my grandparents, they reach a point of time where they may not talk to each other as excitedly as they used to do in their youth, but their presence means everything, right? So I think my words and I have a similar sort of a journey where we have our ups and downs. There are times when I can't really think of things to write, and yet there is so much to write. And um, I think that I have discovered a lot about myself as a writer over the years. There have been times, I think, during my early years of teenage, especially, where writing was a place of venting. There are so many, there is so much turmoil going on inside, and it used to be my one place where I could be my true self. And I think that has meant a great deal to me. And it is wonderful. It may not have been revealed at that particular time, but now that I look back at every single poem I have written over the years, it is very obvious to me that they have been very honest reflections of who I am at different points of time. So I think they have been a very wonderful companion to have in my life.
Okay, so the term or the word that is who am I itself is a very difficult and complex question to answer. So you are one this at this point of time, and you are someone else at another point of time. So like it's very
Very
difficult
true.
to strike a balance between all these. So like from childhood till now. So you have written about your experience, your journey of the self. So it's very interesting and like exciting to listen to. Okay. So do you prefer poetry or prose, and why?
Well, I admittedly, I read more prose than I read poetry, which may prove me as a big hypocrite, being someone who writes poetry. But I would, I firmly believe that what prose can say in a paragraph, a poetry can say in 4 words, and I think that is the power of the art of poetry. I am a big fan of Frost and Saudi and all of those great poets that one can only um, dream of becoming. And one thing that always touches me about poetry and what really sets it apart for me is, as I said, how much it expresses in so little. And in a world where we use way too many words, I think that is something all of humanity can probably learn. Um, because when you say little, the beauty of language is preserved. We're living in a world where, unfortunately, there is a short form and an abbreviation for everything. But there used to be a time where poetry, in complete words, but lesser words, could convey so much. So I think my bias remains on the poetic side.
Yeah. So I truly believe that poetry is difficult to write over prose. So what do you think?
Absolutely. As naturally as poetry comes to me, there are times when, because poetry has a lot to do with rhythm. As a dancer, I understand how tricky rhythm can be, because I have their experience with rhythm on both the hands. Rhythm is very tricky to deal with because it connects. An audience or a reader will know when it is off. They will completely understand when a poetry is written in a manner, and it wouldn't really reach them if it's not on rhythm. And I'm someone who tends to write relatively more rhythmic um, poems, because I strongly believe that when something is on rhythm, it makes a difference in communication. Prose is something that, for example, a diary. People tend to write diaries because they are easy to write. They are words brought together and they can express it. One can write a diary page every day, an entry every day, but then one cannot always write a poem every day. A poem comes when it can, or when it feels like. It doesn't really, because it demands a lot. Um, I think over the years I've realized that earlier on I had this perception that when you're very emotionally touched and when you're very close to the emotion, you can write poetry. But I've realized that there needs to be a certain amount of practicality in poetry as well. If you're too
Yes.
close to the emotion, you cannot think of the rhythm, you cannot think of words. So I think it is very tricky, and hence poetry, I think, is much far more difficult to write than prose.
Yeah, I completely agree with whatever you have said because sometimes, like all the alphabets, all the letters of whatever language you write poetry, it cannot express the human emotions or passions. Yes.
Very true.
So, what inspired the book? So, what inspired you to
Okay,
write your first book?
right. Um, I think there is, the first line of my, um, I think, acknowledgement says, it's maybe ironic coming from a 17-year-old, but truly so much of life has led to this book, because it does feel like that. I remember um, opening the courier in which my books came in, and it was the first ever courier on my name. So it was a very, I remember opening it, and so much rushes through me because um, I started writing at a very young age. at a point of time where poetry was probably just a few lines brought together that just rhymed. They didn't necessarily make a lot of sense, but they were still poetry to me because they still expressed something. And over the years, I have grown so much as a person. I have changed so much as a person. And um, so much in my poetry has changed as well. And one very bad habit I had as a writer, and I still may have, admittedly, is that I've been the harshest critic of my own work. And that is something my parents have continuously corrected me. Like, it's good to realize what you didn't do earlier, but that doesn't make your past work any less, valid of being read. And I think 2020 was a year where we all came to terms with our own selves. And to
Yes.
me, it was no different because I woke up one fine morning to realize that, okay, I'm months away from 18, adulthood. Like, what am I doing with my work? And I decided that if I want to do this, I want to be honest about each one of my work. So there is a poem in there about it's titled Adult, which I had written when I was, I think, 11, 12, or 13 years old. And it was written right after I had a fight with my parents. And it is just a teenager venting about how terrible the adult world is to and brutal it is to them. And yet I feel, and I was so critical of that poem. I was very, I was in a great dilemma about whether to include that poem in my book or not. But at some point of time I really realized that this is what the book should be about. And I think what inspired the book was that very journey, the fact that I have been writing for so long, and maybe, just maybe, that is worth celebrating.
Okay. Well said. So, what are the major themes of your poetry?
Okay, so they vary. There, as the title says, they are polka dots of all shades, um, and all hues, ups and downs. Since they all have been my expressions through all my ups and downs in life. Um, there are poems that I have written that are feminist in shade up, and there are poems I have written right. Like, one of the poems I've written was right after I was eve teased for the first time. And as a young girl, the sort of emotional turmoil that I went through at that point of time is brought down to a poetry. And at the same time, there is one about democracy, which talks about what I believe um, democracy's end would look like. And it is called Democracy's Funeral. And it talks about what the world looks like if democracy had an actual funeral, and how ghosted that funeral would look like, because nobody would actually have the freedom to even go and bury democracy. So then there are poems about, I think, the greatest um, genre in my book is about writing itself, because to me, as uh, that being the greatest um, factor or passion in my life, it has been something that I have written about greatly, because writing means so much to me. There is woods of being a writer. There is I am a poet, but am I? Uh, so I think there are the poems are of different shades and different hues. And in my preface, I say something like this: that there are many of polka dots in this book. I hope you find some of yours in here too. So I strongly believe that because I have been writing since so many different phases of my life, no matter what age the reader is falls under, they will find something that they will relate with, that they will look back upon and say, "Oh, I felt this too. At some point of time, I understood this." So I think that is what makes this polka dotted book truly polka dotted.
Okay, so let me ask you, like, why this particular title? You have life, you have war, you have polka dots. So all put together, if life wore polka dots. So what does this title symbolize?
Um, well, when it comes to your first book, your, hopefully mighty entry into the writing world, you want to decide a good title. You know that there's a lot of pressure upon the title, and I had the entire manuscript in my hand. I had everything finalized, and yet when the publishers were like, "Oh, what is the title?" and I'm like, now that's a lot to think about. So the title actually came upon me at the very end. It was the last thing that was finalized. My parents and I were sitting in my living room and we were thinking of all possible titles that could be given to this book. And we thought of a lot of titles that sounded philosophical, fancy, in all different languages, but they weren't me. They didn't feel like it came from Hir Nimawat or who I am as a person. And so suddenly I started laughing and my mom was like, what? And I said, if life were polka dot. And it just felt like home. To me, this book is about accepting all my ups and downs, to, to accept that I did have my downs, that I did have my ups, and yet it has made me who I am today. So, and because after deciding this title, as a writer, I felt extremely tempted to write a poem on it as well. So there is a poem called If Life Were Polka Dots within the anthology. And the last paragraph was something like this, that even though there are uh, checks, dull checks, and stripes, but life would get real boring if life were polka dots all the time. Because in the fashion world, polka dots are, interpreted as something very flashy, something very happy, something very bubbly. So I think the whole point of this title is that life is all about all the different shades and hues that we're given. That life truly would get real boring if life were polka dots all the time. And I think this book, which is why would relate to everyone who would read it, because it genuinely is something that everyone holds close to their heart. Everyone has had their own journey. And this is what the book symbolizes.
Okay. So, as a poet, what is the most important element to you? Uh, the thought behind it, the language, or the rhythm?
Okay. First of all, I think every poet obviously has their own styles of writing, and every reader also has their own preferences. So obviously, everyone has their own biases towards the piece. But I think at the end of the day, everyone would agree that all three of them have some importance and contribution to what poetry means collectively at the very end. To me, I think uh, they are important in the same order as you stated. Um, Thoughts, I think, is on the very top because I strongly believe that if a language is very flowery or the rhythm is very good, but you don't really have anything to convey, it really wouldn't make the poetry uh, touch you as a reader or a fellow writer. So I think that is something very important. Um, Secondly, rhythm. Uh, I think rhythm comes secondly. Uh, because as I said earlier, that I think it is very important to be on rhythm, and I'm very particular about that. Um, and language. So language is something that I have been thinking about a lot recently. I'm someone who sticks to language that um, touches the reader very easily. I try not to use very flowery or fancy language because I think ornamental language works to an extent and to some people only. Whereas if you use words that, for example, I there can be very a lot of words, fancy words used instead of good or beautiful. I like to use beautiful a lot. So if you I can say astounding or grateful and all of that. But beautiful has been used over the centuries because it has a sort of beauty to it. So I a lot of times I read people and poets who use very fancy and ornamental language, which to an extent it just goes down the drain when it fails to connect with the reader. So I think on the very top is thought, then rhythm, and then words.
Fine. So, as someone who is experienced in poetry, recitation as well, what difference lies between being an audience to poetry and being a reader?
Right. I think that is very interesting and important. Simply because uh, as someone who has recited poetry, even being on stage reciting and writing are two very different experiences. So obviously, when on the other side of the table, being a reader and an audience are also miles apart. I think the greatest difference is that as a reader, you get to interpret poetry in your way. Um, when I read Harry Potter, I can imagine him with spikes, with straight hair, with uh, metal glasses or with plastic glasses, and it wouldn't matter. But when I'm supposed to watch a film, the director is giving me on a served platter what I'm supposed to imagine. So I think it goes similarly with poetry because when I recite, you can see what my expressions look like. Um, and I strongly believe that when you're interpreting something visually, the thoughts are slightly lesser in pace. Whereas when you're reading, um, if I'm reading something about feminism or about police, about women going through something, and I would automatically look back at my experiences of this similar sort or something I may have read about women going through something like that. Whereas if you're showing me, I might be looking at your expressions, your body language. So I think the experience as a reader is far more enriching than as an audience because you're more independent as a reader.
Okay. So, can you read your favorite lines or poems which has always touched your heart?
Okay, sure. So obviously, as a writer, I mean, it is very difficult to choose one amongst your babies. So nonetheless, I have like one that I uh, think connects the greatest with me. It's called Woes of Being a Writer. Um, I used to think eons ago when my fingers were untouched by the ink that curls on every page, a little fresh, a little smudge. Those days when words were mere words and I wasn't a writer at all. Oh, when I wasn't a writer at all. Nights were meant for resting self, not for storytelling with the sky. Nights were hours of peace and calm, not a battle between my words and I. There, there weren't those moments where I simply couldn't breathe, yet wanted to run, simply because a word came to me while looking at the sun. Didn't have to bear the weight to pour them out with ink. The stories that live within me, filled to the very brink. Didn't lose my sleep over the characters never completely right. Little do we writers know they never will be in our sight. Oh, how merciless life is to those souls who write. He waits with a pen in his hand while the poetry takes its time. The burden of the stories makes us want to breathe, yet makes breathing difficult. To breathe in the stories we yet don't know, simply to exhale the ones we do. We writers are stories in ourselves, living in our personal hell, knowing that despite the universe full of letters, there will always be stories left to tell. And yet, for the painful night, my words and mine incessant fight, out of all the things to do in the world, I know I would always rather write.
Wow. So beautiful imagery. The whole poetry had a lot of rhythm, passion, and
Mm,
you can feel the, like you can feel the passion of a writer and a very young poet. So especially,
thank you.
I like the part wherein you depicted, like, there are so many unsaid stories and there are so many
Yeah.
unwritten stories within everyone, which is completely true.
Yes.
So, yeah. So you wrote a poem on 2020. So how is the year 2020 different for you?
I think it has been different for everyone, obviously.
Yes.
We have all experienced something we never had before. Um, 2020, I think, was the game changer that God planned for us. And He thought that, okay, it has been enough of monotony over the years, and let us break the pattern for some reason. Um, I think um, 2020, if 2020 wouldn't have happened, this book wouldn't have happened. Uh, because it took a lot of me for me to really put my work out there, for me to say, okay, all 59 poems are worthy of being out there. And for me to realize that no matter how uh, childish some of my poems seemed, they are they are worthy of connecting with readers of that age probably, or even of my age or elder who may have remembered those days of themselves as well. So I think, um, as I said, if 2020 wouldn't have been there, this book wouldn't have been there. Apart from that, I think 2020 really, as a writer, brought to me some time. It brought to me time to think that, okay, what all has life been up till now? And what do I want to change from now on? I haven't been the greatest poetry reader up till now, but I took 2020 to read a lot of poetry because I think as much as I say that a lot of my writing comes from cinema, admittedly, what one will read, one will write. Uh, I think I knew very little about poetry up until now when I began reading poetry of my own contemporaries because I realized that, okay, maybe because I tend to write in rhymes relatively. And most of my contemporaries are breaking out of that relatively conventional style of writing. So I think 2020 was the time of introspection, learning new things, growing, and of course, if life were polka dots. So yeah,
So I was so enchanted after reading the poetry on your name. So can you read it out and explain what is the meaning of the particular poetry piece?
um, I do not believe that I do have it in the book. So if you give me a one moment, I can open it on my phone and I can read it.
Yeah.
Am I still visible?
Yes, yes.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to give me one moment. Right. Don't give me a name when I'm born. A word gift wrapped to call mine. A bunch of letters I will turn around to or smile at from time to time. I will engrave it on benches and bark for the world to know and see. And yes, when the sun sets on the dark corner of my bed, I will whisper to me, who is he? Let me instead be a shadow, an ever changing imagery. I could be a palm, a peacock, or a stubborn, unironed sea. I could be happy or not, successful or not.
Fine. Okay, so how is nature and mankind connected to each other according to you? So, can you tell us like how nature has played a very important role in your life and how you can connect the theme of nature to the concept of mankind?
I think they're quite contradictory. We tend to resist, nature tends to flow, and because of that, there is this constant conflict between us and it. And 2020 was one such time when nature played us and we tried to play it back because nature tends to free flow. And I think over the period of time, of the lifetime, in fact, man tends to learn to go with it, or at least tries to learn. It is, I think, one of the greatest art forms to learn to live, and hence nature tends to do that. I am someone who is a keen traveler, so a lot of my poetry has a sense of touch or a sense of nature and its elements. So yes, it inspires me greatly.
Fine. So, where can we buy your book? So, where is it available?
So the book is available on a lot of online platforms. It is available on Amazon. It is available on Google Play. It is available on iBooks, that is the Apple book. It is also available on Barnes and Nobles for international purchases, and it is available on other online retailers that you may find. So yeah, but I think, and it is available in ebook and paperback, both formats. So, and one can download it on Kindle as well.
Okay. So, what are your future plans?
Ah, of course, I wish to continue writing. It means a great deal to me, and I would never ever dream of stopping it. Um, Obviously, I would love to explore different formats of writing because I think a lot of things um, attract me, but I haven't really gotten there yet. Thanks to my, as I said, harsh critical um, criticizing skills, I have two unfinished novels in my laptop right now. I would love to finish them at some point of time. I would love to write something more. At the far end goal, I wish to get into screenwriting because cinema is something that inspires me a great deal. And writing and cinema brought together really seems like the ideal career to me. So at some point of time, yes. Um, so I think writing continues, and I would love to have more books on my name. But before that, I think I have a lot more experience to undergo.
Okay. So, finally, what is the message that you want to give to youngsters like you and writers, aspiring writers?
Ah, um, well, who am I to? But all right. So um, I think the one thing I would like to say is what I have been thankfully told since I was very young. It is that dream big. I mean, we live in a world where, especially to writers, I think we have this idealist inside of us that makes us want to write. We wouldn't be writers if we weren't idealists or meliorists who want to make the world a better place or think it should be better, or we do see beauty in it. And I have had people like that in my life who believe that there is this sense of unrealism wouldn't take me anywhere in life, and I'm sure you guys have it too, and that uh, they're very keen on showing us what the real world looks like. But my family has always encouraged me to dream big because no dream is unachievable. And admittedly, I'm far from where I dream to be. But I think this book has been one that I thought was unachievable for the longest of time. And yet, here I am, and I'm so grateful for that. And I think um, anything we can dream of, we can achieve it. And that way, I'm a big fan of Walt Disney, who had this beautiful quote. He said, and I think it was in his latter years before he passed, where he said that it is so important to remember that it all started with a mouse. And whenever I, remember that quote, it always brings me goosebumps because I think that is what dreaming should mean to one, because not he dreamt of something far beyond imagination, and yet he managed to achieve it. And I constantly remind myself that it is the same for each one of us.
Okay. So we have one question from the audience. So you can answer that. So here we have like, what is the meaning of dots?
Okay, so polka dots are different colored dots that I think are laid out in all of our lives. We all have different shades and hues that we have to live through, enjoy through, cry through, march through, and that makes us who we are today. So that is what I think life really um, means, and to me, that the personification of that very life is in this book. So the dots are the diverse hues that we live through.
Okay. So before we end the conversation, do you have something to add? You can very well express your thoughts.
So I think the last thing I would wish to talk about is that uh, why this journey really. I would just like to share what this journey, what getting a book published journey is truly about. Because I'm sure that if there are any writers out there, they would want to know what it is exactly like. So, first of all, when I decided that I want to get my book published, I went out there, marched on the internet, and decided to mail all the greatest mega giant publishers out there, starting with Penguin. And I thought, oh, they'll get back to me in a few days, but they didn't because every publisher has a different sort of a requirement, and a publisher like Penguin requires the writer to have their own name before they sign a contract with a publisher that great. And I joke about it that I would love to name my biography if I ever become great enough, called Partridge to Penguin. So that is what I would love to name my book, because so I obviously went on with Partridge, which is an extension of Penguin for self-publishing writers. And later on, so there are a lot of self-publishing writers out there, self-publishing writers out there, and equally self-publishing publishers out there. So you can all go ahead and get them. And there is a long, very technical process of submitting the manuscript, deciding the cover page, deciding, looking for forward, um, so much to do. And uh, after you go through all of that, uh, the moment comes when you finally get to, hold your book in your hands, and then there is another extensive process of promoting it. But nonetheless, I can confidently say that it is one of the most enriching learning experiences of my life. And I think you think that you're publishing a book because you've learned a lot, but in fact you learn a lot in the process of getting the book published. So it is very interesting to get to know that no matter how much you say that, oh, being an artist is all about, that there is no technicality or involved, there is a lot of technicality involved, but there is a beauty in that technicality as well. So I think anyone out there who's listening to this and is writing, feel confident, feel free to put your work out there, because you will never really know the true measure of your work unless someone actually reads it and tells you how they feel about it. Because ever since the book came out, I have had so many classmates, friends, people elder to me, texting me saying that, okay, we really connected with this poem, or we really understood, or to the extent that this poem made me cry. And that really makes you feel unimaginably good, because you never really imagined your work touching someone like that, because you as a reader knew what it felt like. So I think that is the one thing that is most important in this entire journey. That be confident of your own journey. Like everyone has their own. Yeah.
Okay, so here we had an a very interesting and exciting and inspirational session with Miss Heer Nimawat. So, thank you, Heer Nimawat, for accepting our invitation. And thank you, Ahmedabad Book Club, for giving us a wonderful opportunity to share our thoughts and the experience as an author.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It means the whole world to me.
Okay, so thank you once again.